This show seeks to inspire, entertain, and inform. I seek out the dreamers, the creators, and the storytellers of our time. My hope is to ignite the creative spark in you, our listeners. Welcome to the Fathergamer Interviews. Hey guys, and welcome to the very first episode of the Fathergamer Interviews. Don't worry, TFGP isn't going anywhere. You can still get your weekly fill of fandom and fart jokes over at cinelinks.com, iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. But I felt the need to expand a bit and create a little place in the growing Fathergamer Productions lineup that I can interview some awesome people. I plan to interview people from the world of gaming, movies, TV, comics, music, and I might even slip a few scientists and political figures in there. I want to figure out the whats, the whys, and hows. I want to dig into the creative process and see what sets them apart. In this episode, I had the fantastic opportunity to sit down and chat with Tom Beardsmore, the CEO and co-founder of Coatsink, a passionate and talented games development team working on games for PC, VR, console, and mobile. The company has grown into a recognized face in the development community, as well as the growing VR industry and applications market. Without further ado, here's the interview. I'm here with Tom Beardsmore from Coatsink. Met you for the first time at E3 last year. It was your first E3 too, if I remember right.
Yeah, it certainly was. It was a great first E3 as well.
Yeah, you guys did really well, and yeah, E3 is just a crazy place, especially the first time you go. It's sort of like Vegas and Disney and everything thrown together, and just kind of keeping everything under control is pretty hard. But you guys did a really good job.
Yeah, I mean, we did. We're in a very fortunate position to be working with Oculus, where they kind of take a lot of the pressure off and just organize things for us. And really, we weren't. We were just there to do interviews and stuff where necessary. But it was just a surreal, amazing experience being there for the first time, having spent my childhood watching E3 on online. To finally be there, it was fantastic.
Yeah, you kind of feel like you've gone to a mecca of like gaming.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you kind of come back a different person.
Yeah,
so
it's the pilgrimage that every gamer must take at some point.
Absolutely. So,
yeah.
You guys have been around. You've been about 2009, 2010. Can you kind of talk us through a little bit about how you guys started and
yeah, sure. So it actually started out as a two-man studio. Myself and my business partner and lifelong friend Paul Crabb. We'd both been working for mid-sized or large studios beforehand. Paul had been working for a company called Atomic Planet that were based in northeast England. They don't exist anymore, and I was working for Blizzard. Obviously, World of Warcraft at the time was the big one there. But we both kind of got a little bit sick of the lack of creative control that we had through no fault of the companies, just from the huge, especially huge companies. Wanted to get properly into game development, I guess, and so we took the plunge with trying some iOS prototyping and stuff like that, and really, to be honest, thought it would never last. So thought we'd maybe learn some things, but back in a job elsewhere within a year. But no, we find ourselves 5 years later with a team of 30 still going strong somehow.
Yeah, how is that? Like going from that, was it you two at first, and then so now a team of 30. How does that? I mean, that's got to be crazy getting up going. I've got 30 people, or how many people are underneath me now? That's got to be kind of a strange feeling.
Yeah. I mean, try not to think of them as underneath.
I understand.
I describe I know what you mean, though. But I describe myself as the least competent game developer in the company.
Definitely a leadership role, I guess.
Yeah, more. Yeah, absolutely. It's really cool. I mean, the big we got a lot of critical acclaim for our mobile stuff, but we never had huge financial success like other mobile developers have had. So it wasn't until we started working on like some PC PC prototypes and PlayStation stuff that started to pick up, and then more recently with VR stuff, working with Oculus in particular has been amazing. Yeah, so we grew slowly up until I would say end of 2014, early 2015, and then we expanded rather rapidly when we started working on Esper 2 and other stuff around there.
Speaking of Esper, I got to play Esper at E3. Dealing with a lot of the mechanics, I got to play a few other games on the Oculus, and we had discussed it a little bit about how developing for the Oculus or for VR in general is a lot different than developing for other platforms or other versions of gaming. Can you describe that a little bit? What you guys have learned? What?
Yeah, yeah, sure. I mean, the really exciting thing about VR, and it was sort of the same for mobile back in especially 2009,
Right.
10, is it was very experimental. People weren't really sure how to design, so especially more so for VR than mobile. Um, it's very experimental and in that way exciting to design for VR because you're basically rewriting the rule book on game design and design in general. Um, you have certain constraints you have to work within, but you can do a lot within those constraints, and also those constraints are lessening as time goes on more and more. It's also like a really cool collaborative kind of field at the moment, so you often find cohorts in fellow developers, even from other companies, that will you can discuss problems with and find solutions to greater issues that are affecting all of VR. So it's a really exciting field to be working in.
Yeah, I think that's what I've noticed talking to other developers is that they just really want this to work. That it's not just going to be here and gone kind of thing. And I'm glad to see that community really brewing with the developers, especially the comparative to like a Sony or Microsoft, the smaller developers. I know you've developed a little bit of a relationship with some of those larger developers as well. Are they kind of chipping in ideas or suggestions or anything like that?
Yeah, yeah, all the time. I mean, try to be as flat as possible without kind of bridging on anything, taking ideas from as many people as possible. Anyway, taking inspiration, I would say, especially from and people in the team, super flat company, everybody just pitches in here and there where they can. So, yeah, I'd say I think VR is really open to that as well. Everybody's learning something new every day, especially as we get new hardware regularly. It's always exciting to see solutions we can find with every iteration of a device.
So you went from Esper to Esper 2 and
Yeah.
Esper 2, if I remember right, it kind of has a few voice actors that are well known.
Yeah.
How was that for changing the company, the little company that you didn't think would be around for more than a year?
Yeah.
To Nick Frost, I believe, is one of the actors you guys got.
Yeah, he's in Esper 2. Yeah.
So how was that? I mean, that's got to be crazy.
Yeah, very surreal. Like a lot of stuff that's happened over the last year, and we just in conversations with the VO company that we're working with, we thought it might be worth trying to pitch to him. So we managed to get in contact with him, with the agent, pitched the idea, and he really really liked it. So yeah. He was willing to do it, on an indie rate and stuff, which was awesome. He understood that we were not a big, or we weren't a big company. We're still not really a big company, certainly not the games industry standards. Yeah, and he just liked the idea, and he liked the concept of working on VR titles, which was awesome.
Now you guys you're not just doing VR. You've got Shoe coming out.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about Shoe?
Shoe is a game that we've been working on for a couple of years now. It actually started as a cooperative project with a different studio called Secret Lunch, but it's kind of become more of a Coatsink in-house project as time's gone on, because as our studio's grown, we have more experienced people in-house. We've got people, who've been involved in all kinds of titles, from Little Big Planet Vita to even stuff like Minecraft porting,
Right.
and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, so we've just been able to expand our skill set as a studio, which means we've been able to put more work in-house into Shoe. So we kind of spent a lot more time and money on it than we originally anticipated, but we think that will reflect in the final product being of a higher quality. I would hope it will anyway. We're very happy with how it's turning out. I think it's become like more of a blend of traditional action platformer with a speedrunning game, which is interesting. I think visually it's very interesting as well. It's kind of like sharp 3D meets hand animated 2D.
Yeah, it's very pretty what I've seen of it so far.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, so we'll be next demoing that, I think, at Resd in the UK, which is in April. We showed an earlier demo at EGX last year that went down really well, but we'll have a bigger demo this year, and we'll be able to show a lot more around that time.
And are you guys still looking to PS4 Vita?
Yeah, launch? PS4 Vita, Steam at launch. Yeah, that's what we have planned. Yeah, PlayStation have been awesome, giving us time to work on it. So we're very thankful to them.
So you have a few other games. Super Glad. Anything else you guys like? What was the first game that you guys actually worked on?
The first game we ever worked on was a really small mobile game called Pinch, which was a puzzle game, a top-down puzzle game. Very, very simple. It was just me and Paul. I did the art, even though I'm not an artist, and it was terrible. But it was like, kind of had felt good on a phone, and it got really good reviews. It got like a lot of featuring. It got on an official Apple weblog as Game of the Month. I think it was May 2010 when we launched it, which was really cool. And so that led to funding and work for hire, and also it led to Pinch being picked up by a company called Miniclip, which at the time they were publishing cool iOS titles, giving them more exposure, but also making them higher production quality, because they were a much bigger studio, much bigger team. So that was the first game we ever worked on. Yeah.
What would you say to someone who's listening right now? That's going, okay, this is really cool that he's doing what he wants to do. What would be your, I don't know, your suggestion on how to get into the company? What was, like, you started out, you said you'd worked for Blizzard. I mean, was that where you started originally? Was that the first time you did anything in development, or like how did you get in, and how would you?
Yeah, I wouldn't even say I did that much in development, to be honest. I mean, but it was certainly my first time at a games company. Yeah. Before that, I'd studied like creative writing and screenwriting, because I wanted to try and get into film and TV writing. But I'd always been a big gamer and nerd. To be honest, I just never thought that I had the skills required to get into the games industry.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, really, it's just been kind of perseverance as much as anything. Being willing to learn and pick yourselves back up, obviously, if you have a down day, because you have as many up days as you do down days, at whatever level. And then hopefully as you get bigger, you have more up days than down days. Perseverance would definitely be the big one. And also being willing to get out there and speak to people. For the first couple of years of our development as a company, we really didn't leave our houses. We were pretty much working mostly from home, and we didn't go anywhere. We didn't have the funds, but also we didn't really have the self-belief to get out there and show people our games, where I think if we had done that, we could have had a lot more success early on, because as soon as we started doing that, people noticed us a lot more.
That is a very, very hard thing to learn, especially if that's not in your nature to be that kind of person. Especially when you're, because essentially this is your art, this is what you're doing that you're proud of and you want to show the world, but at the same time you're scared to death to do so.
Yeah, that's right. It's got that fear of being, belittled or whatever, which really in this industry doesn't happen. It maybe does on the larger scales when you're working on a massive AAA game, but certainly in the indie scene, it really doesn't happen. Everybody's really supportive.
It's so awesome what you guys have done. Especially, I've seen the stuff you've done over the last year. It's really awesome to see. So, everything you guys have coming out, can you kind of go over that right quick, and then we'll talk about where to find all of your stuff and whatnot.
Sure, yeah. So we launched Esper and Esper 2 on Gear VR, the first consumer edition in December, and you can pick them up on there. They're very well reviewed. Everybody seems to like them, which is awesome. So if you have a Gear VR, check them out. We'll have Shoe on PS4 and Vita and PC this year for sure. I would say certainly before August, really just pending release schedule with Sony. And we're working on a load of new stuff for VR and non-VR as well. We've got a couple of cool projects in prototype phase, which we'll probably be talking about more maybe towards the end of the year.
Great.
And of course we have Superglad as well, which you mentioned earlier, which is like an ongoing project, kind of a labor of love, that one. And, you can check more out about that on our website. That'll certainly be console based. It'll also be mobile and PC. And I don't have a release time for that yet, because it's basically when we have time to finish it off, because that's all self-funded, on mostly self-funded.
That's development.
Yeah,
so you never. It'll be out when it's out. So everybody listening, you can actually check out everything about Coatsink at Coatsink.com. You guys have Twitter, Instagram, pretty much covered.
Yeah, and there's no other Coatsinks because it's a weird enough name.
Where does that come from? I mean, I understand coding, and it could kind of, but
but it doesn't really, because it's Coatsink. So it just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it's really weird. It's just basically a really obscure in-joke that Paul and I had from being literally 12-year-olds that we decided to follow up on. We thought, basically when we were kids, we thought it'd be really funny to have this company, Coats Incorporated, for some obscure reason that I will explain to people when I meet them, otherwise it just won't make any sense. And I probably also shouldn't say it out loud.
That's totally fine. If people listen to my other show, you're probably fine.
So, if you're ever interested, ask me in person. Otherwise, just an obscure. We never thought this company would last release, but it has. So now we're just relatively medium-sized games company. It's our name.
Well, it's got to be awesome to wake up in the morning and go, I get to go to work. Like that's. Granted, probably it doesn't leave when you go home either, but
it doesn't.
So it's great talking to you, Tom. We're gonna see you again at E3 this year, and
I don't know if you head into GDC, but I'll be there as well.
Okay. So thank you very much, Tom, and we'll put all the information about everything to do with Coatsink on the show notes for this show. Thank you again.
Cool. Thanks, Eric.
Thanks. Cheers.
Hey guys, I'd love to give a giant TFGP thanks to Tom and the talented group at Coatsink. Be sure to check out their website at Coatsink.com for all the info about their current and past projects. Also check out their Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram accounts. Speaking of which, you can find TFGP and the rest of the Cinelinx-powered shows like SCNS Live at cinelinks.com. You can also find SCNS Live on their YouTube channel. Just search SCNS Live. You can follow Fathergamer Productions on our Facebook page, as well as our Instagram and Twitter. Thank you for listening, and as always, achieve greatness.